Hey, you guys asked? I'm here to deliver. So, this is the email that I wrote that made my client $191. If I was better, it likely would have made him a lot more. So let's get into it. So, starting with the subject line, this was specifically to call out the part of Black Belt Magazine's email list that's more into the self-defense than the martial arts. You know, the guys who are all, I want to know how to stop a bad guy from killing me dead out in the streets. You know, the guys who don't really think why that would happen. Yeah, those guys. But there's no doubt in my mind that this can also get a veteran martial arts practitioner's attention, simply because people go to a lot of great pains to avoid great pain, and nobody likes to make mistakes with whatever it is they do, whether it's self-defense training or art. We are perfectionists. So after the greeting, I go into paying off the subject line immediately. This is what you want to do with email. You don't want to delay the payoff. If you do, you lose your audience, you lose your reader. And when that audience is someone else's email list, that can sour the crap out of the working relationship between, your guys and their guys, and the guy whose list you're borrowing really, really quickly. Now, here's where things start getting a little screwy and what I would change. I had changed this entire line from, in fact, we were talking about this when these guys, when this guy, the co-founder of this company, came up and asked us what we thought about most knife defense training. And then I'd start going into it. It's like, okay, well, we got a discussion going. Here's what we found out from him and his partner. Your martial arts training may be training you wrong. This I wouldn't change. So these first three sentences, from it shouldn't even be possible all the way to your martial arts training may be training you wrong, that's called a lead. Anyway, never mind that though. This is just, the entire purpose of this is just to get the reader invested into reading the rest of this email. If it does that, then it's done its job. I don't need it anymore. Moving along. I still totally execute this second sentence a lot better though, if I could. And then I go into the credibility. See, these guys started training martial arts when they were kids. They stuck around with it long enough to pick up 12 black belts between them, or instructor ranking. Okay, so far, credibility looking good. And then I use that credibility to set up the problem that they ran into with their training. They felt completely unprepared for an actual street fight. Everything they studied was missing, whether that was... So I did tweak this a little bit later because I'm still a bit of a perfectionist. Hard sparring, so they know what it's like to get hit. Realistic drilling, so they actually know how people stab each other. Or even just good old situational awareness, so they know when someone's about to attack them. These are all playing off of, some implied benefits. I'm not stating the benefits outright because those are very deep level benefits that come in later. But it does exacerbate the problem. It exacerbates the pain. And then I go into the solution. They took their combined knowledge and experience, filtered out everything, started looking at how violence actually happens, and even one guy's bar bouncing experience to come up with a knife attack report. Here's where I'm positioning the little product that they put together as the solution to the reader's problem. And then I talk about what that solution really looks like. 4 simple steps, which is true if you sign up for their page and you get the report. That's pretty much how it plays out. Telltale signs, that makes you look like a psychic. So I had a little bit of fun here with these bullet points because I was always playing off of certain emotions. 4 simple steps I wanted to play off of laziness. And it's true, the steps are simple. They're just not very easy if you're not trained. Telltale signs make you look like a psychic. And that's true too, because from their research and from the footage I've taken a look at, a lot of guys do give away when they're about to attack. It's like a very broad way to telegraph without necessarily already being in a fight. And then I go down to address the skepticism that they should have, because, you know, there's a lot of bullshit information out there when it comes to self-defense, and I wanted to address that by saying, hey, you know, here's also what these guys go over that you should pay attention to, because the other guys out there are going to grift the crap out of you. And then I start going into the urgency of the pitch. It's a limited time only, because I should have written that Black Belt Magazine is only doing this for a day. To wrangle you this report completely free. Cool. Here's where I drop the price. Now, when you drop a price on whatever you're offering, it should be a lot less than the perceived value. And that's what I'm doing here. And then I go into the call to action. All you have to do is sign up on this site to get it. I would delete this, because when I'm writing, I have to get into the habit of assuming the sale. All right, cool. And then I pile on the urgency. This won't last forever. If you end up missing out on this knife report, you could end up on the wrong end of a knife attack because you ended up not clicking on a simple link. I make the inaction seem very ridiculous. This is after I edited it. If I could redo this entire letter, this is how I'd send it. It used to look a lot worse than this. Act fast, this won't be around forever. The urgency here isn't in the unit count because it's a PDF. The urgency here is, you know, you don't want to play with your life. You don't want to gamble. So by not clicking on a simple link, you'll end up doing exactly that. You're going to gamble with your life. So click the damn link, get the damn report. So overall, this used to be a lot worse, not structure-wise, but how I wrote it, because it used to be loaded to the gills with ellipses. Like, it looks like I took a shotgun and just blasted this document. It is what it looked like. That was how many ellipses there were. And if I could undo that, before I sent them the draft, I absolutely would. I'm actually quite amazed that the original version of this got the kind of results that it did. Because here's how this email did when my client sent this to Black Belt Magazine and they blasted it out. One day it brought in 385 names to their email list, and of those 385 names, 3 people bought their, you know, online training program at $297 per person. So $297 per person, that's $891, right? And Black Belt Magazine, because they had such a monopoly on their email list, they charged $700 for my client to blast this email for one goddamn day. Can you imagine if, you know, I send in this version instead, which is still readable, but there's less, you know, ellipses and crap to clutter their eyes. If I send in this version, I'm reasonably sure it would have made a lot more money. And honestly, $700 to get 385 names from an affiliate list is apparently pretty average for the results, but that wasn't what I was looking for there. I was honestly impressed that this email did this well. this was very sloppily written, and if I could change it, I absolutely would. But enough about that. Writing emails like this is both art and science. The science is in the structure. From it shouldn't even be possible, down to your martial arts training maybe training you wrong. That's my lead. Here's the credibility statement. Here's the problem. Here's me exacerbating the crap out of the problem. Here's the solution, and here's how you can get the solution. That's basically the outline of this entire piece. But if I wrote it better, my client would have made more money, more profit. So here's what you can learn from this. First, when you're writing email copy, don't be afraid to vary up the sentence structure. And 2, all copy is sales copy. It just depends on what exactly you're selling, whether it's a click or a buy. And 3, know your damned audience. Meet your audience where they're at, because if I talked about how, a lot of violence actually happens in the home from someone the people who are into this kind of material would not click worth shit. They're too in their own world, and you have to meet them in their world. But aside from that, yeah, this did better than it had any business doing. And I'm halfway tempted to bribe the crap out of people to forget that this stupid thing ever existed. But you guys wanted to see it, so I delivered. Anyway, stay frosty. Let me know let me know what else you want to see from me, because I kind of like doing these breakdowns, not going to lie. And if you have any other questions, feel free to DM me to talk about this stuff. I'm pretty open, even if I don't respond immediately.